Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartia and welcome to another episode of TFiR Newsroom. And today we have with us Adrian Ionel, CEO and co-founder of Mirantis, and Michael Schmid, CTO and co-founder of Mirantis. Michael, Adrian, it's great to have you both on the show.
Happy to be here, Swapnil.
Thank you.
Michael, let's start with you. Tell us a bit about the company so that we can build a foundation for this interview and also understand why is Mirantis acquiring it.
So we are an application delivery service, meaning we help our customers to deploy their application in a simple, secure, and fast manner into all kind of Kubernetes clusters all over the world. We're very focused on developers. We call ourselves for developers by developers, because we believe that a lot of the tools out there today, they're not really focused for developers. And so we built a tool called Lagoon, which is completely open source, which is our application delivery platform that helps developers to deploy to Kubernetes clusters without ever actually needing to log in, without needing to know too much about it.
Thanks, Michael. Adrian, if I'm not wrong, a few months ago around KubeCon, Mirantis shared its ZeroOps vision, and now we are here discussing this acquisition of Mirantis. So tell me, how does this acquisition fit into that vision?
Yeah, it fits actually perfectly into the ZeroOps vision that we have. Our idea is to free development teams from any kind of operations, integrations, and infrastructure management work. We feel developers should spend all their time creating features and capabilities that are relevant and unique for their users and customers, and not have to spend any time on the plumbing underneath. And we include in plumbing the entire software production factory. Mirantis fits perfectly into this because it just empowers software development teams to take their code directly out of their repos, publish it, plug into Lagoon, and deploy it on any Kubernetes cluster anywhere and operate it there with complete ease and without any effort. And so it's a perfect fit for what we do. And they do it on hyperscalers, where most of the customers are today, and it's very much applicable for Kubernetes clusters on-prem. So it's the ZeroOps story perfectly represented in one piece of technology.
Mirantis has been around for a very long time, even the early days of OpenStack, but OpenStack users were tech behemoths. They're trying to build their own private cloud with vendors, of course. In comparison, today we are looking at cloud native adoption. We are looking at companies who are not essentially tech companies, but they do want to leverage cloud native technologies like Kubernetes. But cloud native Kubernetes can get very complicated very quickly, and developers might end up spending more time in a lot of back-end plumbing and worrying about operations versus writing new features for their business applications. So can you talk a bit about this whole evolution that you are seeing there, and how is Mirantis evolving to help developers so that you are making things easier for them so they can continue to focus on writing business applications?
Yeah, it's super interesting because in the early days, most of our customers were very technologically advanced customers, people like PayPal, for example, or Cisco, with very, very deep engineering teams and with the ability, at least in theory, to do everything themselves. And still they came to us to source their cloud native platform, the OpenStack platform delivered as a service. Over time, we evolved to over 700 customers across all industries, and most of our customers are in industries that go beyond software. Of course, we have many software companies and high-tech companies as customers. However, a lot of what you'd consider traditional industries today are becoming software businesses. Software is becoming extremely important to them. And they are facing two huge obstacles. One obstacle is tech complexity. Even though cloud is super powerful, it's very complicated. And the other obstacle is talent scarcity. It's very, very difficult to find world-class software development talent or DevOps talent and retain it. These are the two central problems that we solve, and we solve it by taking away any kind of IT operations or infrastructure operations, whether it's on hyperscalers or on-prem, from any concern of the software development teams. So the idea is very simple. if you are a digital business, or if you want to become a digital business, or if you're a traditional business who sees software as central to your future, we are going to help you be competitive and be dramatically more productive by taking away any kind of effort or investment that you put into IT operations and application delivery operations of any kind on hyperscalers or on-prem. That's the evolution that we see. And we believe this is where the world is going.
Excellent. And I feel that we need to increase focus on no ops, where developers really don't have to sweat about operations that much, and continue to focus, continue to spend or invest their time in writing business applications and features. To be honest, the whole promise of cloud and SaaS was to make things easier, that, hey, you don't have to worry about all those back end complexities.
And now you do. I mean, that's the super interesting thing, that yes, you go to cloud now, but it's more like an IKEA experience, right? So it's like you go to IKEA and you think you buy furniture, and yes, you got suddenly a project for 2 or 3 weeks to work at home and to figure out how to put together, your furniture in your room. That's the same experience you have on the hyperscalers today. You're absolutely lost in the complexity, and it's very hard to get anything done. And that leads to a lot of waste. That leads to frustration for developers. That leads to stalled projects, and that leads to defocusing of capital and expertise. And we want to do away with all of that and say to development teams and business owners, focus on what makes a difference for your business. We're going to take care of ops, from application ops all the way to cloud and infrastructure ops. And you can go about being successful as a software initiative.
Another factor that I want to talk about is the cloud cost. It's very easy to add new services with hyperscalers, but those bills pile up. At the same time, costs can also be seen as the time developers are spending on managing or operating their applications. So can you also talk about what impact will ZeroOps, what impact will this acquisition have on cloud costs, where you're trying to make things simpler for developers so that they can once again go back to focus on their applications? So talk about the cost effectiveness that is there with ZeroOps.
Well, the cost reduction will be dramatic, or is dramatic already for Amazia, our customers, and for our customers as well. And it comes from several pockets. First and foremost, development teams will be dramatically more productive. And the cost of development, the expense of software development teams, is by far the largest expense. It's even larger than the expense of the underlying infrastructure. And if you can cut that down by half or more, which is certainly possible with automated application delivery, you're going to save an enormous amount of money. The second area of cost saving is, of course, in the infrastructure itself, the cost of the infrastructure and the operations, the labor to operate the infrastructure. Because this is largely automated through Lagoon and to the Mirantis platform in general, you're going to have much lower overall operating cost. And then you're going to spend a lot less money on infrastructure because you only use truly the computing resources that you need and nothing more. So you minimize waste. So the reduction in cost can be quite dramatic. And I want to bring Michael in here and see what he has seen from firsthand from the customers that Amazia has.
Yeah, I mean, what we see with a lot of our customers is that it used to be customers, they used to maybe use one type of application to build their services. Today, though, what we see is a lot of customers, they use microservices architecture, meaning they have a lot of different technologies because they realize the queuing system is built better with this tool than the website with the front end and the back end, like whatever. Like it's becoming smaller individual pieces, but that means it's becoming much more complex to run these applications. It used to be fine that you go to one provider that maybe can run, let's say, Node.js, and you had all your applications there. But now that you have multiple stacks and multiple technologies, you need to find a solution. And what we saw in the past is a lot of times these customers went to different providers for each of their stacks. Means that you have different deployment workflows, different permission systems, different costs. It's just everything multiple times. And what we can provide now, and we do this with many of our customers, we can basically unify all these different stacks into one that is based on top of Kubernetes. And the only difference actually really happens is what is running inside the container. But it's all running on the same stack, meaning you can share resources much easier. You can, you have a better overview of what is running. You have one central team that you can talk to manage all these things. And that's where we see a lot of management overhead reduced, but also infrastructure overhead. Because it just makes much more sense. And standardizing on top of Kubernetes means you can also run it everywhere. So today we can run a customer that runs on Kubernetes on premise. If they want to try out an hyperscaler, they don't have to reimagine their whole hosting or their whole infrastructure stack. They can just bring the application because it uses Kubernetes in both places. They can try out, okay, is it maybe cheaper to run it on, let's say, EKS instead of my OpenStack solution? So there's like a lot of different, way more flexibility and agileness that is brought in with standardizing on top of Kubernetes. And of course, Lagoon allows you to then onboard developers faster, because a developer that, let's say, deploys for one customer can now also deploy for the other one because they already know how the whole system works. And while today, what we see a lot of times, even though everybody uses Kubernetes, some of them use Helm, others use Argo, and the third one uses something different. And we try to bring in an abstraction layer that is built for developers, like we talked about before, and makes it super simple to deploy all kinds of applications on top of it.
Let's now talk about this acquisition. What will it look like for Amazee.io customers under the umbrella of Mirantis? At the same time, what does this acquisition mean for Mirantis customers?
Yeah, in the immediate term, nothing is going to change for our customers specifically. We're going to still serve them under the brand Amazee.io. There's always going to stay exactly the same. So it's the whole team from Amazee.io joins Mirantis, and the processes are going to stay exactly the same as they are. So we're really going to focus on scaling Lagoon, and that means supporting a lot of different types of applications, because not only in where we are currently in the web part, where Amazee.io is quite strong right now, and we see the same problems with developers not knowing how to deploy into Kubernetes. We see this in regular software development teams, business teams. We see it in machine learning, AI teams. It's everywhere the same. So we will try to expand that part really as first, because we believe open source is the way to go, and we also believe that we can standardize on one specific platform, like we do with Lagoon. We can also do like we did for Kubernetes, so that there's a standard, and that's where we're really going to push focus. And that's why we're interested. That's why we decided to join Mirantis, because together we, as a bigger team, of course, Mirantis has way more experience in that than we are as a company. So together, I think there's a lot of synergies that we can serve our customers better and also build tools for the open source community much faster than we were before.
Adrian, I want to hear from your perspective as well. Yeah.
Well, it fits perfectly because there is no overlap between Lagoon and Amazee.io and what Mirantis does. Mirantis delivers ZeroOps today, or used to deliver ZeroOps today for cloud-native platforms for the core infrastructure. Lagoon and Amazee.io is the layer on top. It's application delivery that plugs directly into developers. So the fit is absolutely perfect. And they will operate as their own independent, autonomous unit within the Mirantis family. We're super excited about it. Some of our very best technical people have been engaged with Michael and his team for 6 months now, probably a bit longer. There is a complete alignment on technical vision as to where the platform can go. And the platform can add immediate value to the majority of our customers. The platform will add value to customers who run Kubernetes clusters on-prem today, because it'll make it much, much easier to onboard developers onto those clusters and to make those clusters available to a lot more, or appealing to a lot more people within those companies. A big problem that a lot of our customers are having is how do I make this super powerful Kubernetes infrastructure really accessible to the vast majority of developers in my company? How do I lower the barrier of entry, the barrier to take advantage of it? And that's exactly what Amazee.io and Lagoon do. So that's one step where there's tremendous leverage and synergy. The second step is, of course, on hyperscalers, because Lagoon and Amazee.io is 99% on hyperscalers. Today, it offers complete as-a-service experience on hyperscalers, so it removes all the complexity that's required to manage a public cloud or hyperscaler from the concern of the customer. So the customers can now, the software development teams can just focus on developing, creating unique code, everything else that has to do with application delivery and operations infrastructure can be delivered in a zero-ops manner as a service to those companies. So we have like the complete story, whether you're on hyperscalers or on-prem, you get zero ops all the way to the application and software development layer delivered by Mirantis in one. We feel that's a terrific story that a lot of customers are interested in.
I also want to talk about some previous acquisitions by Mirantis. Container is a good example where you acquired Talent, which also brought one of the most popular IDs for Kubernetes to Mirantis, which is Lens. And now we are talking about Amazee. What kind of common pattern we can draw from these acquisitions? Where is Mirantis heading?
Yeah. The common thread is this. We want to make it as easy as possible for developers anywhere to create, ship, and run their most valuable code. Meaning they should be able to take advantage of the latest open source frameworks and technologies and the latest cloud native services with as much ease as possible. That's what we want to do. That's the common thread. And Lens fits perfectly into that because Lens is by far the most popular platform to operate, debug Kubernetes clusters and the applications on top. So Lens is a tool for application SREs and DevOps SREs to manage their Kubernetes infrastructure anywhere. It has 650,000 users in the meantime, and almost every company that you can think of, whether it's a very large company or it's a small company, has some people who are using Lens to manage their Kubernetes footprint. The vast majority of Lens users can benefit from Lagoon right away because it's an open source platform, and they can use it to make it available to their development teams to deploy on top of Kubernetes, to deliver their applications on top of Kubernetes. And 50% of the Lens users today are on hyperscalers, which is where the majority of the Lagoon customers as well are. So it's totally complementary. There is perfect synergy there and something that we're super excited about. And in fact, we are going to create integration points between Lagoon and Lagoon as a service and Lens so that every single Kubernetes SRE there or application SRE can take advantage of Lagoon with one click.
I also want to talk about the open source aspect of this acquisition, which in this case is Lagoon. I mean, Mirantis has been known as a great open source citizen. You have been contributing to a lot of open source projects. You have been maintaining a lot of open source projects of the companies or project that you acquired. But if there are any concerns folks might have in terms of this acquisition, so can you talk about the impact of this acquisition on Lagoon?
Yeah, we are all in at supporting the Amazee.io team to build out Lagoon and make it the standard for application delivery on Kubernetes. So whatever they need, we will provide them. So we'll put the full weight of the company behind them. Michael can talk more about that, about the specifics as to how he's thinking about getting this done. But yeah, you will see us invest heavily in Lagoon.
Yeah, we see how we're going to do this is it's going to stay completely open source, first of all. We really believe that being open source also allows developers to understand better, because in the end, Lagoon does something that the developer would usually do manually, maybe via the console or so. And our experience is that even though the developers hand over control to maybe an automated systems, they still want to know exactly what's going on. And with being it open source, you can not only look at it and figure out what it's doing, but you can also go in and change it if you need to. So that's, of course, the two things of open source. But in the end, we really see Lagoon as a tool that needs to be built by the community for the community itself. That means every single application has some kind of quirks and specialness on how to run on top of Kubernetes. And I only believe we can do this as a whole community, because I don't think one single company or one single team can know how every single application on this world can be deployed in Kubernetes. So we're going to have teams that maybe just maintain a subpart of specific applications that on then how they're running on Kubernetes. So that's the envisioning, that we really have a Lagoon core team that builds the main functionalities. And then you have all these integrations into all these different applications, frameworks, and languages. And they are then maintained by sub-teams, sub-communities that really know that specific part. And that's what we're already seeing today, that we have people that are trying to deploy a new application on top of Lagoon, and they are contributing specific parts to Lagoon, and then they actually continue to maintain that specific part. And if there's a new Kubernetes version coming out or a new version of the application, they automatically contribute updates to that specific part of Lagoon. So it's really, we're building it up as a community, and we're going to continue doing that, and invite everybody that wants to deploy applications faster and more safe, better with Kubernetes, to try it out. But also, if you play and figure out a new way how to deploy into your own application, to contribute back, because I think that's really what open source is about, is that we can help each other to build better software and applications in the end.
Adrian, Michael, thank you so much for taking time out today and talk about this acquisition, and also share your vision that you have with ZeroOps and making things easier for developers. And as usual, I would love to have you back on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.